Guess what? You just proved that advertising on podcasts works. Reach thousands of local listeners each week and grow your business. Reach out to Talkin Bengals today to find out more by emailing talkinbengals@gmail.com.
Hello and welcome into another exciting edition of Talking Bengals. We are here in episode 103. It's the classics, just the two of us again. Hoop, how we doing?
Doing just fine. We got training camp already starting. Got a little bit to talk about. Some hairstyles and everything else. How you been, Casey?
No, I can't complain, and I'd do even better if people would follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or X as the kids call it, at Talking Bengals. Also check us out on Instagram and YouTube at Talking_Bengals. We may be changing our username soon, so keep on the lookout for that. Otherwise, I'm doing pretty well. It's training camp. We're getting closer to the season. We're inching there, and somebody's got awesome hair, and it's not just me. So go into that.
Yeah, your lack of hair. Joe Burrow and BJ Hill. I guess, BJ just decided, Joe, if you do it, I'll do it too. Well, Joe's man of his word. He's like, all right, let's do it. And apparently BJ is as well. Seeing some really good things in training camp so far. Couple minor injuries, couple bumps and bruises. I think everybody's going to be okay. But so far, hairstyles were there. Even Jamar Chase with the shorter haircut. I don't think I've ever seen him with a short haircut.
No, not really. I mean, he had it a little bit short last year, but, not quite this short. So I think they're all coming ready to play. It's professional time. They're all very business-like. And, I mean, for those of us who grew up listening to Eminem, I know we talked about it a little bit last week, the blonde hair, man, you're coming out for real. You mean business. You dye your hair blonde, you mean business. So let's see how it goes, and maybe the whole team should do it. That'd be pretty funny.
It would be a great team building thing. I mean, bringing in – I'm just looking at some highlights right now. You want to go straight into highlights from training camp?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. We're going to shoot from the hip. So, I mean – what we're seeing, Zach Moss not messing around, when he gets that ball. Zach Taylor described him as a professional, detailed, and he said that he's really a fan. I can't really say that I disagree with him. Zach Moss is coming in, making a name for himself. And, I think that Brown has to really step up if he wants to see playing time the way that he should see playing time. So, some good things there. And then, Cam Taylor-Britt, CTB, out with that tonsillectomy just before camp. So he was limited, but expected to go full go tomorrow when the team is in full pads, full go, full tilt. Cannot wait to see that. And, he wants to be there. He's even quoted as saying it on the Bengals website. Mike Gesicki, definitely going to be someone who's a red zone weapon for us. Really excited. I mean, someone who's 6'4", 6'5", coming out of the tight end set, that's going to be something to watch. I cannot wait. But starting to talk about football, I'm getting excited, Casey. What do you think?
Woo, football time. And I mean, looking at the wide receiver core, I'm going to go ahead and make a bold take here. The receiver core this year is better than the receiver core last year. Even though you lost Tyler Boyd, Jermaine Burton, Yoshibash looks like a real player. I mean, last year, he's a Ivy League guy. Good for him. He's doing better than we thought. We had zero expectations, but he's playing really well. He's coming out. He looks like one of the best receivers on the team, and that includes Pickens and Chase. He could be a number 3 to them. So, and everybody's sleeping on Charlie Jones because he had a bad year last year. There's no other way to say it. He was hurt. He didn't really play to his potential. So, yeah. You got a lot of people that could be surprising. And don't forget, Trenton Irwin's reliable. Is he a superstar? No. But can he come in and play every position in that receiver core? Yeah, he can. So top to bottom, the receivers, in my opinion, are better this year than last year.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the receiver core now, it kind of reminds me of what Brady had around him when they won the Super Bowls. Just quite frankly, I mean, you have a solid core of receivers. I mean, even if you drop T. Higgins next year, we still have a solid core of 4 or 5 receivers right after T. Higgins. I mean, Jermaine Burton's going to jump right in. Yoshivas still staying a strong 3. Trenton Irwin, like you said, the guy's just a utility player. He's a workhorse. You can count on him. He's going to be on the field, and he's going to give you 100%. And no matter what skill level you're playing at, whether it be peewee ball, high school, college, or pros, about the only thing you ask is give me 100%. That's all I want. I just want you to go out and give it everything and not leave anything, out there on the field. So, I mean, Trenton Irwin's going to be one of the key guys coming off the bench in the receiving core. I think our solid 3, obviously going to be Jamar, T, and I think you're going to be fighting between Jermaine Burton and Yoshivas. I think it's going to be a great battle to see. I think we're going to see a lot of 4 wide receiver sets, with maybe a running back or maybe throw in, Gesicki at tight end. I mean, they're going really soft with Eric Hall. I don't know why. Personally, is he injury prone? I don't know, Casey. Why don't you fill me in on that?
Yeah, he's a little bit injury prone. I mean, he just come off a big injury, just got fully cleared for participation, and I don't think there's any reason to rush him back. I mean, that's the thing I was going to get to in a minute was all the tight ends. Tanner Hudson looks good. He has chemistry. Mike Gesicki really isn't a tight end. He's just a big receiver that can't block, but is too big to be a receiver. And, Drew Sample can't catch. He can just block. So your best all-around tight end right now, still Tanner Hudson. Then you got 2 rookies. Are you really going to keep 5 tight ends? Seems like a lot. So who's the weakest link? I don't know.
I hate to say it, but Sample.
Yeah, they just re-signed him, though. He's not going anywhere because he's the only blocker they have. Hudson's okay blocking, but Sample's really good blocking.
I mean, with the offense, the way that Joe Burrow, at the helm, the way they want to run that, it's a heavy passing offense. I mean, but you do establish a running game to open up the passing game. Like I've been saying for decades, you have to open up the passing game by using your run and be efficient running. That's the reason why the games that Jeff Blake had somewhat decent passing games is because Corey Dillon was going off. They had to guard against the run. So it opens up the passing. Carl Pickens had a heck of a career. Look at the running backs that the defense was trying to have to cover. Any kind of play actions, you had Carl Pickens down the field wide open, because they were guarding against the run. But I digress. We continue to progress running the ball. Joe Burrow is going to look like the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game of football, because they're going to have to guard against not only the run, but then they're going to have to guard against 3 receivers who essentially can be a number 1 receiver on any team they want to play on, in my opinion. I think Jermaine Burton, as long as he gets his head on right and keeps his head on right, I think Jermaine Burton has a chance to be a number 1 receiver on any team he wants to play on. I just hope it's for the Bengals. The guy's quick.
The new 1A.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's quick. He has hands. He can get open, and he's not afraid to get hit and to hit. So, I mean, it's exactly what you want in a receiver. So, I don't know. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of good competition, and I think that competition, not only on the practice field and in the locker room, that creates team bonding, that creates cohesion in the locker room, which then correlates out to the game field, where that's where you want to win Super Bowls. You need that team cohesion, and I think that seeing that competition is seeing that the players coming together and being a team. I think it's a good look.
Show your pride for Ken and Willie Anderson's Hall of Fame candidacy with our exclusive t-shirt featuring a bold design. This shirt lets you celebrate 2 football legends. Plus, 30% of proceeds go to the Ken Anderson Alliance and Willie Anderson Lineman Academy. Wear your support and make a difference today.
Speaking of chemistry, there's one wide receiver that's not really seeming to be a full-on team player, according to some people. Jamar Chase, again, is not participating. He's just kind of there doing his thing. I'm going to go ahead and give my opinion on it first. I don't think it's a big deal. I think, he's a little salty. He wants his money, but he's still got 2 years basically of team control. So they don't care. The deal's not going to get done. There's nothing Zach Taylor can do to help him out. So he's just like, yeah, you can take a few more days off and just, do your thing. But he's not trying to be a cancer. He's still there. He's still, supporting the team. He just doesn't feel like participating. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I kind of have to agree. I don't think it's a huge deal. He's still at practice. He's doing a whole bunch of signing of autographs on the sideline. I mean, honestly, it's good PR for not only him, but the team, to see him be there with the fans. And it brings more people in. It brings more of the community in to see that Jamar Chase is being more public and going out, signing autographs. And, because Jamar Chase is a big name. He's a big name receiver. He's earned it. He's earned the right to be a big name receiver. But I do see some of the concerns. You need to get out there with, the first offense and, see some reps on the field against somebody who's guarding you, legitimately guarding you, not just, kind of slapping you with the hands. Somebody's going to hit you after you catch the ball. So I don't care how good you are, you still need to see that. So I don't know. I mean, I think you can kind of argue either way.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to get some reps in. I don't think he'll be holding in that much longer. So I'm using a lot of air quotes tonight. That's my thing. I like to air quote. But yeah, I think he'll be a full participant pretty soon. Like, he's just taking a few days, his little silent protest. I didn't get paid. He's not being a distraction. What I think's hilarious is watching Zach Taylor have to, justify him not playing. Is he going to practice tomorrow? We'll see. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he's hilarious, and I heard on a different place they're talking about what would Marvin Lewis's reaction been, and I feel like they only talked about how Marvin Lewis would have been at the end of his tenure. I think they should have gone through an entire evolution of how young Marv would have been, very much like positive and supportive and happy. How like 2012 Marv would have been like, they're getting a little bit salty, like how 2018 Marv would have been like, I don't give a shit, whatever.
Well, there's our PG rating.
No, it was bleeped out. It was half bleeped, so we're good. You fill in the other letters. That's your business, people.
Well, let's just be honest. If this was Marvin Lewis would have just probably pulled him aside and said, look, Jamar, you're going to get your deal. They're going to make it happen. Get on the field and prove your worth. Go out there, show them that you're worth it. Show them that you're willing to work for them, and the Brown family will pay you. Katie Blackburn will make sure you get paid. Now, Mike Brown, on the other hand, he might be trying to be cheap, but Katie Blackburn, as you've seen with the Joe Burrow deal, if you're worth the money, they'll pay you.
Get you paid. Well, the funny one I said last year, Marv, in his tenure, to have been like, hey, Marv, think tomorrow's going to practice? Sure. No. Just no care at all. Speaking of
Podium Automotive is a proud sponsor of Talkin Bengals. In Greater Cincinnati, it's Podium Automotive for all your auto needs. Skilled technicians, quality service you can trust, and fair prices. Tell us Talkin Bengals sent you and get 5% off all services. Schedule your appointment today on Facebook at Podium Automotive or call 859-869-0097.
Speaking of the past here, let's move on into our Dey History segment. So this week, we are coming at you rapid fire style, even though there's probably going to be several delays in between, about brief Bengals. The criteria for this is people who did not play very long for the Bengals. Could be impactful, could be forgetful. Nick, you're up first.
T.O. I hated the fact that we brought T.O. in. I think that it just diminished Chad Johnson's performance that year that he was here. It was just, I don't know. I just go back and think about it, and it's just bad memories. I think that the Bengals had a really good chance that year without T.O. on the team.
I did. I don't think he was a good call. I think they both got too obsessed with their reality show and dancing, so they didn't do so well. But I'm going to go with Larry Johnson. Do you remember Larry Johnson, running back from Penn State? The Bengals got him from the Chiefs for like half a season in like 2005. He was a great running back for Penn State, had a decent career with Kansas City. And the Bengals got him for half a season in 2005, I think, because for 2005-06, Rudy Johnson was a little bit injured and banged up, so they brought him in to help out. And then he was gone. So he had a cup of coffee with the Bengals, as baseball people would say, and then he just disappeared. Who do you got?
Let's say Boomer Esiason's second tour. It never happened.
Yeah, basically,
Boomer should have just retired. It just called it a day.
Hey, he gave us hope. He replaced Blake and went 7-9, as opposed to the blasphemy that Blake was that season. It was terrible. Oh, let's see. Michael Westbrook. Oh, he's going to be such a big, impactful player. He was a great receiver from Colorado. And comes in and he catches one touchdown. Yeah, that was it. One touchdown in 9 games. Meh.
John Ross. I don't even need to say anymore. Just John Ross. I think anybody listening to this knows.
Hey, if you just kept it that week 1 game of 2019 against Seattle, you'd have swore he was the next best receiver, because he had 3 touchdowns, was making people look ridiculous. He looked like he could have been Jamar Chase, and then the next week he came back to being John Ross. So maybe he was channeling his inner Jamar Chase and was like, I can do this. And then the next week he was back to being John Ross, who's now a practice squad player with Kansas City if he hasn't got cut yet. Oh, it's back to me. Eric Bieniemy.
I liked him, though.
I didn't say we don't have to not like them. They're just brief Bengals. You like Boomer Esiason, too. We can't help it they were brief.
I don't know. Today was a long day. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
what's the next topic?
No, now I'm going to sit here until you think of somebody else, because you said that. We're just going to sit here and look at each other until you think of somebody. Just kidding. I'm not going to torture you anymore. I'm going to torture you in a different way.
I was going to say John Kitna, but he wasn't a brief Bengal. He wasn't a brief Bengal.
He had like 3.5, 4 seasons. So, yeah, not quite brief.
Show your Bengals and Northern Kentucky pride. Get the Talkin Bengals Y'all shirt now. Order today exclusively at talkinbengals.com.
It's trivia time here at Talking Bengals. So get ready, fans. Let's see if you're smarter than Nick on this one.
Probably are.
So, what contract clause is known as the Pickens clause, and why did it come about?
Pickens clause.
It is now in pretty much every Bengals contract. I'll even give you some options here. You ready for options?
Give me options.
Okay, option A, a performance incentive clause. Option B, a loyalty clause. Option C, a morality clause. Or option D, a holdout clause.
C.
One.
Morality.
Oh, so close. It's loyalty. It's the loyalty clause, because he came out after getting his extension and said, why didn't the Bengals fire Bruce Coslett? It made a public embarrassment for the team. So now they write that in, and it is affectionately known as the Pickens clause. We're huge Carl Pickens fans. It's always disappointing to talk about his dark side, but
take your career to new heights with Constructive Curiosity. Whether it's career coaching, mental performance training, or business management consulting, Constructive Curiosity has the insight to get it right. Visit constructivecuriosity.com to get started today.
Yeah, little good trivia there. So let's see. Moving on to our next topic. Otto, what do you want to talk about for offseason?
Offseason banter.
Da-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na.
I don't know. What do you think? Because I feel like I come up with off-season banter a lot.
That's your one job. You have one job, and that's it. Off-season topic. That's all you got to do. Well, baseball is the trade deadline. The Reds traded away a bunch of veterans for a bunch of young guys. It's fine. I didn't watch it close enough to worry about it. I just know that's typically what the Reds do. Unload people that leave at the end of the year for young talent. Fine. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's not like you didn't see it coming.
It's normal. They're not going to try to compete. Even though they did trade cash for a 27-year-old infielder who's batting lower than I would. So it's not good. It'd be different. I mean, those are the trades that I never understand. Like, I get if you trade for a 19-year-old kid, that guy might have some potential. A 27-year-old infielder batting 148, that's a bad look. He's not going to get that much better at 27 years old.
All right, I'll stick on the baseball theme. How about baseball going away from focusing on good base hits, and now if you don't hit home runs, you don't get paid?
Yeah, I actually see it going the opposite way. So for a decade, it was all about home runs, but more and more teams are getting back to singles and doubles hitters, which makes a lot more sense. A sustained rally is going to get you more runs. Home runs kill rallies. There's no other way to say it. And people who know baseball will agree with you. And if they don't, then they don't know baseball. Home runs kill rallies. If you keep hitting single and double, triple, single, double, triple, all those mix them in, as a pitcher, that kills you mentally because you're always on a state of alert. There's always a base runner, and it keeps getting in your head. But if you give up 2 singles and a home run, you're a little bit disappointed, but you have a clean slate now. You can go back to the windup. You can get comfortable. You can just say, okay, let that one go. It was one bad pitch. But if people just keep getting on, I mean, the most demoralizing innings, and I know you can attest to this, are the ones where they just nickel and dime you. You're putting in good pitches, and they just a flare over the first baseman's head. You know, a dying quail that falls between the shortstop and the left fielder. And you're just like, come on. Those will kill you as a pitcher faster than anything else.
We used to call them Texas leaguers.
Yeah.
And those little bloopers, like over the first baseman's head, or like someone gets jammed off the handle and pulls it over the third baseman's head and just barely goes over his glove. Like, get out of here. Like, get out of here. I literally did everything I could, and it jams him. And the ball goes just high enough to go over his glove. Plus, you have a greater chance of getting on base if you hit one in fair territory inside of the fence. Like, if that's your goal, you have a better chance of getting on base.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You have like a, what is it, like a 1 in 1,000 chance of hitting the ball over the fence. You have to hit it just right. You literally have to hit the ball just right with just the right exit velocity and at the right launch angle. There's a lot of things that have to go right all at the same time. And baseball is already hard enough. Why make it that much harder? Like, you have a guy like Ken Griffey Jr., for example, or even better example, Pete Rose, right? Forget his off-field antics. Forget him betting on sports and baseball. Look at him as a baseball player, right? Charlie Hustle. That was more interesting than watching the home run era, in my opinion. I'll go back and I'll watch old baseball games with Pete Rose all day, every day.
And getting on the home run topics, of course, I love Pete Rose. That's a great guy on the field, off the field. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about his performance on the field. But home run hitters, it's all in. That's what everybody wants to talk about. there's not that many players that hit over 40 home runs last year. What is it? Over 40, looks like 6 players hit over 40 home runs. You know how many at-bats they had? Roughly about 580 at-bats. So you were successful at doing what you wanted to do 40 times out of almost 600. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, just go ahead.
Yeah, so if that's what your goal is, if you're trying to hit home runs, I expect a lot more than 40. And I mean, the record's what's crap, 70 something. I don't know what Bonds' record was. I mean, to me, it's still 61, but I'm a baseball purist in that aspect. I don't like steroid era. But whatever Bonds' thing was, I don't know what it is. But yeah, those are the amount of home runs you need to be hitting if that's all you do is hit home runs and strike out.
Yeah, I mean, essentially only hitting the home run if you round up about 7% of the time. That's awful. That means you're striking out, popping the ball up, topping it because you're pulling out, trying to hit home runs. You're not looking to make solid contact. Hitters like Ken Griffey Jr. had great baseball swings. Ted Williams, he had a great baseball swing. Obviously, because not only did he have a bunch of home runs, but he also had a lot of hits. Just so happened that some of them went over the fence. Same thing with like Hank Aaron. You know, Hank Aaron, great baseball swing. Had a lot of hits, had a lot of home runs. But, you know, you go back throughout all of baseball history and, you know, the most skillful baseball players essentially were the best hitters consistently. It's consistency over time, not right now.
I mean, that's why I think for those who don't like him, whatever, but Ellie De La Cruz, that's why I like him. He plays the game the right way. He's not trying to hit a home run every time he's up there. He's trying to hit the ball hard. That's all he's trying to do. If that's a hard single, that's a hard double, hard triple, hard home run, he doesn't care. He's just hitting the ball hard.
Well, he grew up, you know, not playing in American baseball. And that's why, you know, he grew up playing, you know, essentially, you know, I need to get on base. I need to use my speed on base. I need to find a way to get on base no matter what. Guy's faster. He runs like a deer. Of course he needs to get on base. The guy's faster. And I mean, I think he probably would win in a foot race against a deer. He is so fast.
He's fast. Blazing fast.
He could break most neighborhood speed limits.
Oh, goodness.
And that's all.
We should probably talk about something other than baseball since it's a football podcast, even though it is off-season banter.
We're talking about the Reds.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
And Cincinnati.
what other off-season topics could we get into here?
Importance of special teams. Special teams, so important. Come on now.
It is important. Yeah, I know.
The least talked about topic in football is special teams. And it is literally the most important topic in football. Field position.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'd say it's one of the 3 most important. I wouldn't say it's the most important.
About it. What happens when you miss your point after? What happens when you miss the game-winning field goal? What happens when you botch a kickoff? What happens when you have a punter who sucks? What happens? Yeah, but just saying, right? Yeah. You can't just fire the punter and get a new one, or fire the kicker and get a new one, and
sure
then you can, but you can't do it in the middle of the game.
Sure, you can. Bring Chad Johnson back. Let him kick.
Casey, you know what I'm saying. I know you're just being butt right now, but
I know.
Special teams is so important.
They are.
Like kick coverage on kickoffs, you know, being able to actually kick point afters, you know, being able to actually have a snapper who can long snap, you know, to the punter, and a punter who can actually punt on average more than 40 yards. That's huge. And I hope to God that the Bengals have picked up a punter who can do just that.
There's 3 of them right now in competition, so hopefully one of them can punt. But I get what you're saying. It's special teams is the most thankless job because if you do good, unless it's a walk-off field goal, nobody pays attention. But if you do your job bad, oh, man, they got the pitchforks out. Like you said, if you're a bad punter, pitchforks out. You shank a punt. Drew Chrisman's career literally ended because, I mean, he had a lot of bad punts, but you shank that punt in the AFC Championship game, yeah, you don't have a job in the NFL anymore. I mean, kickers, you miss a walk-off kick, Fat Randy comes back to haunt you. You don't have a job in Cincinnati anymore. You have a job other places. Or, a couple years ago, we were playing the Steelers in the opener. Painful that we lost that game. But, yeah, your long snapper gets hurt, and the guy doing the backup long snapping, they hadn't really practiced. So the timing was all off. Nothing flowed correctly. So that's when you notice is when stuff goes wrong because they are so talented at what they do, it becomes automatic, and you expect it to go right. And then when it doesn't go right, you're like, what the heck, man? It's like when you turn your car on. You expect your car to start every day. You don't care how much wear and tear you put on it. You expect it to start, and when it doesn't, you're ticked off.
That's where special teams is. Special teams should be automatic. And when you don't have something there that's automatic, there's a glaring problem, and everybody sees it.
Well, we don't endorse any particular adult beverage company, but special teams, this one's for you. If you want us to endorse your adult beverage company, just give us a call. We're open to sponsorships. And we will say everybody else sucks, other than your brand. We'll say your brand's the only good one to drink. We're here for you.
Especially if your owner starts his name with DG and then the last name is your beverage company. I would love to be sponsored by you.
We're here for you. Just give us a call. Give us a ring on the cellular. Or hit us up on the socials. Maybe slide into our DMs or whatever the kids say. I don't know.
Casey, I don't think sliding into the DMs is what you just said it to be.
I know it's not, but I'm really tired, and then we are totally off the reservation, and I don't even care.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're kind of at the Harry Doyle moment in Major League, where it's like you can't say that on the air. Like, who cares? Nobody's listening anyway.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, maybe we should wrap this up. Okay, what are your final thoughts?
Just been outside for ball 4. Training camp started, right? Now we're going to have some stuff to talk about. Make sure you tune in on the next episode. Definitely going to have a lot more fun, actual topics to speak. And, I don't know, maybe throw us out some ideas, DM us, right? Or you can, comment on a couple of our posts, once or twice a week and let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We're listening, I promise.
Instead of sliding, because we don't do that, maybe politely knock into our DMs and wait for our consent to come in.
You're ridiculous.
This is the dumbest stuff I've ever said, probably. I don't even care. Anyways.
This is gold. Screw it. We're going live.
We're doing this live. I told you. You told me before we started, you look exhausted. I'm like, you're dang right. I'm running on fumes, and you, of all people, know that's dangerous.
What?
Can't have me running on fumes because bad things can happen or really funny things can happen. So it is what it is. But, yeah, check us out on Facebook and Twitter or X at Talkin Bengals, Instagram and YouTube at Talking_Bengals. We're on the TikTok. Just look for Talkin Bengals. You'll find us on there. We're there. Don't forget to support the Ken Anderson and Willie Anderson Hall of Fame bid. Sign the petition. It's what you should do. Sign the petition. Buy a T-shirt because 30% of the proceeds go to Ken Anderson Foundation, Willie Anderson Lineman Academy. So help those two great legends continue their personal endeavors off the field and help them get into the Hall of Fame. Nick's still supporting the awesome shirt for the July 6 victims and their families. Together we are Florence Shaw. Whether you're from Florence or just in the greater Cincinnati area, all 100% of those proceeds go to those families. So support them any way you can. Continue to support us. Be good human beings. God bless America. Uday.